Yo, what is up, fantasy managers? It's time for fantasy team selection for the 2021-2022 season. I'm really excited. This season is gonna be mega. I'm looking forward to play a different formation that I normally play for the previous few seasons. I'm feeling really excited, but as I always am, I'm always excited. But when I go further into the season and when you drop off in every single competition that you are challenging, then you start to get a little bit bored. But normally at the start of the season, you're always very fresh, you're always very excited as you go into the new season. It's almost like you start with a blank check and you start buying your players and you start planning ahead and you just want to win that mini league that you guys are trying to fight, and that's the same for me. Yep. So we're gonna go through the team at the moment, and as you can see the fixtures. The first game will be at 3 a.m. Singapore time. Brentford versus Arsenal. Now this is a very interesting game. I thought Arsenal will win this game with ease, as Arsenal has not lost to a promoted side since I don't know since when, but if I remember correctly, Arsenal has not lost to a newly promoted side since a long time ago on the first day of the season. So this is a fixture that is very sketchy. It's not something that I really want to bet on, but I will go with an Arsenal still win simply because I'm an Arsenal fan, but it's not really a definite. Manchester United versus Leeds. This is going to be easy. I'm going to go with Manchester United because I feel that Leeds, the pre-season form has been atrocious, and I genuinely feel that this is going to be a very tough game for Leeds to try and get a win. And then Burnley versus Brighton. I think Burnley, Brighton, both of them will get a draw. I think it's a long ball versus a really balanced team. Nothing much more to say there. I don't really think that both will have much difference in the game. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. I believe Chelsea will win it easily. They are my champions elect for this season. I generally feel that Thomas Tuchel will want to push Chelsea to win the league this season, and Chelsea is not a club that messes around when they go out and spend the money that they spend. For example, like this season, they genuinely go out there and fight for the championship. Everton versus Southampton. Now this is a little bit tricky because I thought Everton would do really well with Rafa Benitez, especially a long ball manager. He'll make them defensively solid, but unfortunately the preseason game against Manchester United does really get me thinking about how good this team is. And with reports of Calvert-Lewin injured, I'm not sure if Everton will win this game, but I still will say Everton win this game. Leicester versus Wolves. I think Leicester will do really well. They played an impressive game versus Manchester City in the Community Shield. People might say there's a Community Shield, but they've done a fantastic job in that game, and I generally expect them to do Wolves a real good beating. Now Watford versus Aston Villa. I believe Aston Villa will win. Simply because Aston Villa has got a lot of new players and they got Danny Ings, and that's one of the players that I'm looking at to get for the start of this season, as DCL is reportedly injured. Now Norwich versus Liverpool is quite straightforward. Liverpool, I don't think you can beat the front three of Liverpool. It's still, in my opinion, the best front three in the league. Mane, Firmino, Salah. If you want to swap it out, you can go with Firmino rather than Jota. Yeah, if you can, basically, if you want to swap it out, Firmino for Jota, that is an incredible front three. Newcastle versus West Ham. I'll go with a West Ham win. I believe West Ham under David Moyes, they seem a lot more settled defensively, much more solid, even though they don't have the prowess and I would like to say a little bit of flair that Jesse Lingard brings to the team. I still feel that they will do Newcastle really easily. Now Spurs versus Manchester City, and I know what people are going to say, that Manchester City should beat Spurs on the first day of the season. It is definitely Spurs is going to Spurs it up, but I'm going to give Spurs a little bit of respect here. I think they are a little bit like a Manchester City bonky team, and if you look at the previous few games, they normally don't get their way against Spurs for Manchester City. So I think this will be a draw. I genuinely feel it. And Manchester City, you see that they're still not ready for the season. I just always feel that Manchester City they have a certain way to play, and it's not that easy to click into gear. You need to take time, and it's not that type of tactic where you just pick your team and you just reorganize. It's just that lots of planning from Manchester City, and that's what I think is their type of team is built around. So now we're gonna go into my fantasy team this season, and it's a very interesting system that I've never really used before in FPL. But the only reason why I'm going with this system this season is because last season I started the season with a lot of money on the defenders, and it bite me pretty hard at the start of the season. And I genuinely feel that this season I don't want to get bite the same way. I prefer to go with a cheap defensive option, and if I don't get the clean sheet from the player that I bought, I can say, okay, I deserve it because I only spent £4.5 million or £5.5 million on the player. But if I spend £7 million, for example, like a Trent, and he doesn't get me the assist that I want or the clean sheet that I want, I'll be pissed because he's a $7.5 million player. So that's why I still believe this season I'm going with the objective of going with a cheap defense. And not a lot of people has gone with a defense like that. I saw lots and lots of teams either having Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. But at the moment I'm still thinking that going with a cheap defense is the way to go for my team at the moment. Of course, I might switch it up as the season progresses and goes on, as my target is always the top 100,000 in the world as an OR, basically. But at the moment, last season, I had a very bad season, in my opinion, even though I won one of my mini leagues. I would say that my season has been pretty poor. Finishing 500,000 in the OR rankings is just not good enough, and I hope to do much better this season. I hope to finish in the top 100,000, but you know what? You never ever know, because football, the ball is round. In Chinese, they always say the 球是圆的, so you will always have a difficult game in these kind of tournaments. So for my goalkeepers, number one, we got from Brighton, David Sanchez. Oh shit! I absolutely butchered him. I thought he was the Tottenham player. Alright, sorry. So I picked Robert Sanchez, and I think he's going to be the most picked goalkeeper this season simply because of his price. As well as Brighton, they have a manager that plays a really organised style of football, which is not pleasing to the eye, but statistically it does get you results, and I'm a big fan of his work. And I think for 4.5 million, what can you say? You just can't complain. Of course, you can go for Martinez, but Martinez is 1 million more expensive, and I don't believe that 1 million is worth it compared to Robert Sanchez over the course of the season. Now for my backup goalkeeper, I'm going with Ben Foster. And Ben Foster is another goalkeeper at Watford. Apparently, some people told me that he's a starter at 4 million, so it's a no-brainer to pick him in the team. But if, for example, he doesn't play, I will swap him out with a Brighton goalkeeper, which is around 4 million. If there is a Brighton goalkeeper at 4 million, I'm not too sure. Let me check it out right now if there is. Okay. But anyways, I'll pick a Brighton goalkeeper if I have to pick a goalkeeper of that. Apparently there isn't. Yep, there isn't. But I'm pretty sure that Robert Sanchez starts. If he doesn't start, we will then think otherwise to think around the squad. Like I said, when you play Fantasy Manager, it's not only about one game. It's a marathon. You have to be on it every single day. You can't just go for one blitz attempt and then just ruin it. For my defenders, of course, I'm going with a 4.5 defender in Ben White, 4.5 million, and a starter, 50 million pounds at Arsenal. It is a no-brainer, especially he will have very nice fixtures from here to here. And for his price, 4.5 million, I mean, that is so tasty for a FPL manager. I know most people will put him on the bench as a sort of a sub option, but I feel that with his I think he can offer me on the pitch. I think if I play him against Brentford, I think he might get a clean sheet. If he doesn't get a clean sheet, that's unfortunate, but it's just 4.5 million, and I cannot really miss out on a bargain like that. Actually, this one I would have gone for Lucas Digne, but unfortunately he is been off form, and I've been speaking to some of Everton fans, and they've been saying that he's not really the player that he is, and especially Rafa Benitez. A lot of people saying that he's not really a top manager. So I decided to go with Antonio Rudiger, and he's a starter for the Champions elect for, in my opinion. And we know that Thomas Tuchel would like to play 3-4-3 formation, so I think that playing Rudiger is a great addition to the team. Amati again, he played in the Community Shield, and with the Fofana injured, I think he's a guaranteed starter in the team. So I'm not gonna start him if that's the correct word, but I'm not gonna start him for the first few games. For example, like against Wolves and West Ham. But I think if he plays, that's good for me. But I'm gonna put him on the bench. But hopefully he plays, and when we need him, we can just slot him in. Now this defender, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce his name. Tissimiskas. Kostinastotestamiskas. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but apparently Robertson is injured. And with Robertson injured, I decided that it's a no-brainer to just go for a 4.4 million defender and just hope that he plays. If he doesn't play, we got Shaw, Rudiger, White as a three defenders in the midfield. Three defenders in the defensive positions, and I think that is good enough for me. I don't really like to play with 4 defenders because when you play with clean sheets, you are genuinely playing with fire. Any single time another team can always score that one goal, and once that goal is scored, you got 6 points gone. So I prefer to have as little defenders as possible, and I prefer to play 3 defenders, and that's why I think Shaw, Rudiger, Ben White, these 3 will be my starting 3 defenders. If I could play Tismiskas, this Liverpool defender on the Thursday, but why would I? Because Brentford against Arsenal, will they score? I mean, I'm not sure, but I might play this guy on the Thursday if I need to. But this is my defensive lineup, anyways. And as you can see, like I said, I spend as least money as possible to make sure that I got more money in the squad. Now down to the midfield, and my midfield is jacked and ready. I really invested a lot in my midfield this season. I'm trying to plan if I can make the changes or whatsoever. I can just switch out anybody from the midfield and go to another top premium player. And the first guy on the list is Emil Smith Rowe, and I am genuinely worried picking him because Arsenal preseason has been awful. And when you really need a player, okay, he's 5.5 million, I understand that, but you need players that can get you 4 or 5 points at least as a midfield, and I'm not sure he's able to do that. So I'm very skeptical of him. I might take him out and buy Buendia or somebody like that. But Buendia is now reportedly having a hip injury, so I'm not going to put him in directly. And he's also 1 million more expensive, so I'm not sure if I should keep him. But at the moment, with his value, 5.5 million, I guess I just have to bite the bullet and just hope that he gives me 1 return in 3 games. These 3 games, if he can give me 1 return, if he can give me 1 assist from Brentford, I'll be very glad for that. Not many 5.5 million players that you have. A lot of people say Dallas, but Dallas last season he was a defender, and that's why he was able to get so much points. This season as a midfielder, I don't see him being the main man in the team at all. So I'm not going to pick Dallas. At the moment, I still feel at 5.5 million, Emil Smith Rowe is still the best player offered in that price position. Yeah. Now it's £7 million. We got Mr. Captain Barnes, the Winter Soldier, Harvey Barnes. Now this is an odd pick. I didn't really want to pick him. I could have picked for Buendia, but I picked him because of my loyalty to him. And last season he got me out a lot of situations, and I'm not sure if I want to play him yet. I might bring him in the cup in this period. Brighton, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Manchester United, and Brentford. But right now, at the moment, I'm not sure about him because he might get rotated. He might get rotated with the addition of Patson Daka on the pitch. Nacho could play left wing. I'm not really sure about Harvey Barnes at the moment, so that's one player that I'm looking at. I'm not very sure. I want to have him £7 million. Of course, I can go for Madison as well, but Harvey Barnes, those attacking returns. If you look at those points last season, Harvey Barnes has played lesser games but scored more points. And I think that's very critical to always understand that points do matter in this game. It's not about emotion, it's all about points. Now for my 3 premium midfielders, I pick Sadio Mane, and he is so good for me because he is under 4.1%. Now a lot of people would tell me, Nish, you're mad, you're picking 2 Liverpool wingers. But for me, I'm a firm believer of Liverpool attackers. I still feel that they got the best front 3 on the pitch on their day. And I think Mane versus Norwich, Salah versus Norwich, is either one of them scores. It's either Mane scores or it's either Salah scores. Or it's either Mane assists to Salah or Salah assists to Mane. And I think that is so critical to have both of them, especially on such a good game week against Norwich. This is the type of game week that you would love to have 2 Liverpool attackers. And I just think at 12 million, I can get him if I need to. If he doesn't perform against Norwich, I can downsize him into a midfield like Son or whatsoever. I can pick Son. I can pick, let me see, hold on. I can go with Son, and I still have 2 million on the bank, which I can definitely improve other places of the squad. So it's not really a must-have, but I genuinely see the beauty in having him. And I know Son is in red hot form at the moment, but I think Sadio Mane, after the poor season that he had last season, this season will be so critical for him to perform and show us why he is one of the best left wingers in the world. And I genuinely believe that he's one of the most direct, cold-blooded left wingers in the world, and I genuinely love him. Now Salah and Fernandes, you don't even need to explain. Salah is a must-own in FPL. You know, whenever in doubt, just captain Salah. That's what my friends always tell me, and that's why I live by every single day. Bruno Fernandes, he scored the free kick against Everton in the pre-season. He looks on form, fresh, ready from the Euros. And especially with this season with Mason Greenwood up front, Sancho, I definitely can see him getting a lot of assists and a lot of goals. And I'm genuinely looking forward to see how Bruno Fernandes will play against Leeds. I actually would captain him if I had balls, but unfortunately my ball strength, and I'm probably going to go with Salah. Now this is my third striker, Mikel Again, another difficult name that I don't know how to pronounce, but I'm going to try. Obafemi. And he is a forward at Southampton, and he's just going to be my bench warmer basically at £4.5 million. He's probably going to sit on the bench. I was thinking maybe Danny Ings was out, maybe he would form a partnership with Che Adams up front, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that's the case, which is extremely unfortunate. Now Danny Ings, now this is a player that I wasn't really interested until I saw a lot of YouTubers talking about Danny Ings and his statistics and whatsoever, and I just look at that 3 fixtures and I think this guy can score. We know what he is. He's a very efficient scorer. He doesn't mess about. When he's in positions, you give him 3 chances, he normally scores. That's the type of player that he is, and that's the type of player that I like to have in my squad. I want to bring in Ollie Watkins, but unfortunately some people say that he might be shifted to the left wing. So I still think Danny Ings will probably be my number 9 this season, unless DCL gets into a fantastic form and whatsoever. I'm really torn between DCL and him, but also Romelu Lukaku, who is reported to go to Chelsea, and I'm hearing that the deal is almost confirmed. So if that happens, then I think I might go to Romelu Lukaku. But at the moment, it is going to be Danny Ings, the Aston Villa forward. And then last but not least is everybody's budget favourite forward, Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney at Brentford. Unfortunately, I have to be honest with you that I've not seen him play live. But according to his stats from last season at the Championship, it is really very, very impressive. And I think at £6.5 million, where are you gonna get a better value player than that? And I always say that you have to look for players that are value for their money. And Emil Smith Rowe, Ivan Toney, these two players, if they can get you 15, not even 15, if they can get you 8 points in 3 games, then your money is really well spent, and that's the type of player that you want in your team. So, as we go with the team selection this first weekend, I'm probably going to go with a 3 at the back as per normal: Rudiger, White, Shaw. Hopefully Shaw and Rudiger can get me that clean sheet. I'm not sure if Ben White could, but hopefully he can. Mane, Fernandes, Harvey Barnes, which I'm still saying that I'm not very confident of him. I'm not sure if I want Mr. Captain Winter Soldier in this team. But we'll see. I have a certain loyalty to certain of my players. Last season, I picked Raheem Sterling due to emotions, and he has been fantastic for me in the previous few seasons. But this season, I'm not going to pick him because he definitely failed me last season. But I could pick Harvey Barnes because last season he performed really, really well for me. And also this season, he also performed very well, but I still feel that there could be better players out there. So I'm not sure if I really want him, especially at £7 million. You could really improve my defense in that area. So I'm still very skeptical of it. I have to see how is Buendia after that hip injury. So we need to wait for more reports there. Emil Smith Rowe, as you know, me as an Arsenal fan, I have to get one Arsenal player in, Emil Smith Rowe. And I'm just hoping that he can get an assist for this game, because the next 2 games will be very difficult for him, even though Arsenal do have a very good track record against Chelsea in the previous few games. Salah is going to be my captain as per normal against Norwich, no brainer. And then Danny Ings and Ivan Toney. So this is going to be my main squad at the moment. If I were to check out Harvey Barnes, I probably will put in Mr. Buendia if he's here. Unfortunately, he's not here, so let's see how we can find him. Mr. Buendia, and maybe improve the defense of Ben White to another player like Matt Target. I could do that. And I would also have a good amount of players, and that would be a little bit more balance of the whole squad. But I'm still thinking, and of course there are a lot of signings that are going to come, so we just don't know where and how they're going to fit in and whatsoever. It's just the first few games, but you just want to get off to a good start, and that's why I'm trying to go as aggressive as possible by going with all the premium midfielders and going with no defenders. Let me know what you have in your team, what players you have in your team, and what's your targets for this season, as I really look forward in this challenge, and we'll catch you out in the near future. Love you guys. Thank you.